Hey everyone, it's yours truly here, Coco, the marketing manager here at the House of Yonder, and we are back with our third episode of the podcast. I'm really excited to announce that we have a designated podcast room now, complete with some soundproofing and a little bit of ambiance to make our guests feel a little bit more comfortable. And speaking of guests, this episode today features Michael, and he is our production director here, as well as your CEO, Gretchen Jostin. So I hope you enjoy this podcast today. And of course, as always, we'd love for you to subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast on. Thanks so much and enjoy. The House of Yonder is a podcast where the award-winning Denver-based design house discusses art, inspiration, and design sensibilities, as well as the strategy and logistics it takes to own and operate a successful business. And we always get down to the heart of the matter with the folks behind it all. Welcome to the House of Yonder. This is a House of Yonder production!
Well, I want the terminology to be kind of like what you said in the beginning, where you're your company's biggest mascot and how that trickles down to the other employees and vendors. Mm-hmm. And I guess having I'm just proud to be part of Yonder and sharing what we're doing and what we're taking on. Mm-hmm. And how do we use the right terminology in that?
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of.
Yeah.
Terminology and expectation setting for people.
Yeah.
If you're performing, this is good content.
Yeah.
Let's just roll into it.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
Everyone's recording. We're just doing it. It's a natural flow. It's all good.
How does
this is good content? Just keep going, guys.
Keep it going. How does you performing at a certain level make other people know that they need to be performing at that level? That's what I see the most from you is okay, you're at a certain performance level. Anyone that sees that, they're oh, I have to wrap every side table. I have to strap things in. I can't put the straps shitty looking
right.
All
you
the
show
stuff that,
show that you care, right?
Yeah.
And then in that moment, someone recognizes, wow, this person really cares,
mm-hmm.
and you have to live it. So one of the biggest things that I've heard from even people who just kind of visited the warehouse or I've worked with on site, they have told me, man, you're in it. You're not just someone watching me and critiquing me. You're teaching me and you're performing the task yourself and then you're hands-on with them. Yeah. And that brings a rally type mentality where I'm laying myself out for you because you are in it with me.
Yeah.
And that's been the biggest thing I've seen with our crew because there's not a disconnect. I'm in it with you. Here's a great example. Last season, Gretchen, I think it was last season, or was it 2 seasons ago?
I don't know.
Well, you'll remember this. So we are trying our best to get through these dishes, mm-hmm. and you jump in, and you were literally hand washing dishes yourself.
Yeah, that was
right?
2 seasons ago.
2 seasons ago. And I think when people notice the owner jumping in and doing that, because we're trying our best,
mm-hmm.
and I think that's part of it. When everyone's trying their best, you jump in and you help each other.
Yeah.
Right, and that's. And when you see Gretchen doing that, the owner of the company, she's not oh, why isn't this done? Or why having, critiquing you. She's no, I know that you're killing yourself. I'm going to jump in and help.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the biggest feedback I've heard from other people working with us and either also other vendors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think motivates you to be like that?
Yeah.
For me.
Have you been like this at other jobs? Is this your personality or
I think, okay, so it has to be from the bottom up
mm-hmm.
approach of when I first started, it was, okay, yeah, it's a job, but I see where we're trying to go and I have this bigger picture. I'm not a clog in a machine, just doing what I do and getting a paycheck. I have direct relationships with ownership and other coworkers and it matters what we do and I see the end result of what we do and I see how we're growing. All of that has helped me. I mean, naturally, I have it in me, but it pulled out of me.
Mm-hmm.
I was there's a need. I'm needed to go here. I need to step up. I need to perform. And I care because I know what we're trying to accomplish. Yeah. So I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a sense of purpose too, right?
Yeah.
You have to have that sense of pride and purpose in your work, and then it's going to bring the best out of you.
Totally.
We all like secretly run on Yonder adrenaline.
Yes.
It's weird because we're like, why are we doing this every weekend? And then we like zombie up from the sleep and we're like, okay, next weekend, let's go. And I don't know what it is, but we're just like motivated to see it like come to fruition. And that's a lot to like do it week after week. And we just keep coming back for more pain.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, when we were in Telluride, and Mallory, I got back to the hotel room, and she was like, why do we do this? Mallory, our floral supervisor. And she was like, and she's like, literally was laying on her bed, and she's like, why are we doing this? And then she pops up, and she's like, because we love it. And I think that's what you're speaking of, like, because we love it, and it is a lot of work, but we see, like, the end result, and we know how we can make these spaces like incredible and make our clients happy and make the planners or whoever we're working with like extremely happy. And we have like grown so much from just any of those like little mistakes that you have made in the past. Like I feel like all those kinks are getting worked out, and it's just like a more of a smooth process to really kind of like show up on site and make something extremely fabulous and then tear it all down.
Well, absolutely, because you get to see that end result. Like all of that hard work has this beautiful payoff.
Yeah.
And I've heard this from Ashley and others that work here. You're appreciated. You're appreciated. Gretchen's like, thank you for doing this work, and thank you for being a part of our team. And it's not unnoticed. Like people are noticed from every position in this company. And I think that has been a huge thing I've tried to keep doing. Like Gretchen did it for me, and I'm trying to pass that along as well. Like now that I'm, seeing Gabby, who's new here, and she's working, I want to walk by and be like, hey, I noticed what you're doing, and I see it, and it's important.
Yeah.
And that's not happening everywhere,
Yeah.
And I think that's part of our culture that makes us unique.
Yeah. And I've seen you do that. I've seen you talk to people in the warehouse, and it is with this like love and respect and care. And even if it's like a critique or like, oh, we actually do this, like it's just to make people better and for them to learn. It's never like a judgment, or it's just to make the end result better.
Totally. And I think we're all in it together as a team, and we know the end result and what it's going to be. And I always use this example, especially when I was training Ashley. It's always someone's grandma. That's grandma's chair. That's grandma's fork. You got to make sure grandma gets her fork clean, and make it personal.
Yeah.
Because right now you're like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
cleaning this fork. What does that mean? Or I'm cleaning this piece of furniture. And I try to bring that connection to this is an
remember her
important
saying
day.
that. She was like,
Yeah.
I know these people are spending so much money on their stuff for like this one day. I want it to be perfect. And I'm like, that's Michael.
Yeah.
How'd you know that? And then so like just to see people doing things, especially like taking enough time to wrap a blanket around a side table. Like we've gone through plenty of Craigslist people who just like chuck it in the in the truck and just like
Or
get it
take
done.
The furniture.
Yeah,
you're
drag it
like,
around. Like
what?
you got to have like a level of care, and that's like everything that you're about, and that's why we get the most amount of feedback about Michael from our planners. Is like, is Michael gonna be there? He's the best. Oh, I hope Michael's there. Like that's just the coolest thing to hear.
You'll be surprised what you can do if you care. And I know Gretchen cares, and I think that was from the beginning. Like you cared so much, and that came out of me, And I was like, man, like our ownership cares. I care. The people we have here care, and I think that is what you need to build a strong team. Is a lot of people that are 100% in it.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like you bring that mascot mentality like to every aspect of your job, whether you're on site or in the warehouse or just thinking about it. I'm sure at home with Naomi,
Right.
like that
So
mascot mentality is just in you all the time.
Yeah, I think another thing I would say is that when you're building a strong team, there's a lot of parts. And so sometimes if someone's not like you, you're going to say, oh, well, you're not performing the way I want you to perform. But I see it as, no, you have a different strength. You have a different area that you. So I love sports, and if you think of football or basketball, they all have these different positions, and one may excel in a position, and so they put him in that position, and the other person may excel in a different position. Or band. You played band, right, Gretchen? So if you're drumming and you're an excellent drummer, that may not be my strength. So don't put me on the drum line.
Yeah.
But I may I may have amazing flute skills. I don't know, just saying. But you want the whole, because the whole band is needed to make the beautiful music, right? And that's how I see Yonder. Is we have florals, we have dishes, we have customs, we have warehouse, we have people who do strikes, we have people on the computer doing sales and creative design, marketing. Everyone together makes Yonder a great team. It makes that beautiful music, and it makes that event come to life. And I think that's my perspective when I see people. I don't think of their weaknesses. I think how can they contribute, and then I speak to that. And that doesn't mean we can't grow. That's another benefit that Gretchen's been huge on. Is like, okay, let's improve your weaknesses, but let's make those strengths a part of what we're doing with you here at Yonder. But we're always pouring into our people.
Yeah.
That's huge too.
Yeah.
We care.
We care.
I've been in several positions when I was younger where I did not care. And I know if I were that employer, I would be pissed at me because, I wasn't giving my all because I didn't care. I was, 18, 19, 26, I don't know. And so I think you have to go through that to actually find someone that's I value you more than what you're doing. And that's just that's cool to hear that feedback.
Yeah.
Well, and Gretchen, you see people as assets because you pay us appropriately, you pour into us. I've had a lot of jobs where they're like, hey, you show up, you don't really know ownership, you don't know management all that well, you're getting told what to do, right? You're not seeing it in a result, and you're showing up and you're giving a lot and no one's pouring back into you. And that's not what we do here, right? And it shows in the pay, it shows in the benefits, it shows in the cool trips that we take, it shows in our team meetings that we do every week, and we're always checking in with people. So we don't just talk about it, we live it. And I think that's a big part of what makes us successful and keeps us growing every year.
Yeah.
And we maintain really strong, good people because they want to be a part of it.
I think that's the coolest part. Naomi was saying, maybe in our podcast, about how a lot of the people that work here have degrees in different things or have different specialties, and that's just you probably didn't think you were going to end up
I did not think
working
I'd be in this
events.
No.
That's really not, that's I don't think anyone that works here has any kind of degree in event design or event management or anything. And for all of us to figure it out and know how to make it where we want to go and where we're at, that's just cool.
It's really cool.
How do you think that shows up on site? That feeling of we all feel appreciated as employees of Yonder House, and then how do you think that people feel that on site, planners or just even people, other vendors, or how do you think that is translated?
That is a great question, and it's when you care, you're going to care on site and off site, and the planners notice that. We're not, hey, here with your furniture. Oh, this corner, okay, and just dropping it off. Which happens.
It happens.
And they, smile on your face. You don't want to be there. It's evident in your body language. We show up. Hey, we're ready to roll. And I always preach this in a sense that we are customer service. We're serving the planner. We're presenting a design. We're a design house. We are not just furniture rentals. We're heading in the direction now where I think designing is a big part of our brand. And we're doing a lot more custom, and it's exciting to see.
I think a good example was 2 weekends ago at Flagstaff when it was raining. We could have easily just been okay, bye.
Please, your problem.
Right. And I could have just walked out. The floral team could have just been too bad, and we're not going to the top of a mountain to set a bunch of flowers and chairs. And we're no, this is I saw the planner was just flustered, and the parents started walking down, all the guests started walking down. I was oh my gosh, this is a nightmare. I don't care if I'm gonna get wet. Cody and I went there to take pictures, not do anything, and he was able to do his role at the restaurant, and I was well, I'm just gonna stay up here and make sure that this planner is okay, because we hadn't worked with her before, and I just imagine it was raining on our wedding day about up
Mm.
until 5 minutes until it started. And I know that feeling of just like, ugh, all of this stress and all of this planning for the rain to ruin it. And so like that was just like a good care moment of like, okay, we're gonna stay and do this. Like your weekend in Montana, like you guys helped the planner out, just like figuring through some like opening ranch problems that were approaching, like not being taken advantage of, but like stepping in and like helping her out and like developing that relationship, because like those little things probably meant so much to her because
Right.
it was something that she needed in that moment, and you guys were there and like stepped up. And just seeing like the feedback that we get from you guys on site is like the coolest, because they're like, thank you for caring.
And I love being a part of that. And I love that we can see a need and help fill that need for the planner, because we're all trying to execute this event.
Yeah.
And so we are an asset to the planner.
Mm-hmm.
And we've always worked that way.
Yeah, and I do think it's like felt by even guests that might not see like the behind the scenes stuff, but like if we're all as a team like motivating each other and kikiing and having a good time and like working really, really hard, but also like getting pleasure out of it too, like that is going to translate into like the guest experience and ultimately like the client's experience too, rather than just kind of like, yeah, I don't care, like let me throw this around, people in the kitchen doing whatever. Like it's just, I think that just that energy that you put out there is it speaks volumes, and it does have like this big effect on the
Absolutely.
end result in the client eventually. So
Well, we have fun together.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And there's a big disconnect sometimes from planners to the warehouse or from floral to the warehouse. And we don't have that.
Mm.
And so floral's in need. I'm not like, oh, floral, too bad, you know.
Do it.
Remember that one time
Too
you didn't do something for me? No, it's not, none of that. Like, we're all the same team.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the case everywhere. And so you can feel that bad internally, that bad vibe between different departments or a disconnect. And we don't have that. We all have fun together. We like each other. We work well together.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows on site.
Absolutely.
I think
Yeah.
it jumps out. There's a certain other company that they've told us multiple times, like, you guys are just the most fun when we come and help over here. And it's like, that's just like the coolest to hear. It's just like,
So cool.
we're doing a lot of really hard work, and you boys just loaded up how many? Nine vehicles? Boy,
Yeah.
I say boys, I don't mean that, because there are several girls down there.
Absolutely. Kicking butt.
Everyone's
Mm-hmm.
kicking butt. And
Everyone.
9 vehicles? How many trucks?
We're at 10.
10 trucks you just loaded up?
Yeah.
Like, or
Wow.
4 tomorrow, so 5 today. Like,
Yeah.
that's a lot of freaking trucks. So it's not like we're doing easy work. And that's cool to hear. Like, you guys have so much fun here. We love working here. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
that's payday for me.
Absolutely. And I think knowing who fits and who doesn't fit, we're getting better at that.
Mhm.
I've had someone come back and say, well, this is one of the worst places I've ever been a part of. I'm like, well, you're one of the worst employees we've ever had.
Yeah.
And so if your worst employees are critiquing you, I find that acceptable and okay. I'd rather be hearing you guys are great from the best employees
Mhm.
and hearing, oh man, I can't live up to those boundaries, those expectations in your culture.
Yeah.
And that means you're just a bad fit, because I've seen so many people thrive here and grow here and love being here. And it's taken some time for us to kind of weed through that as a new company. But I feel like we're getting it down now.
Yeah.
I feel like we have
We know the red flags.
red
now.
flags now and the yellow flags and
Yeah.
all the flags.
I think you have told me a lot about part-timers that are just itchy for more and they just want to keep working here, and like there is something about like getting drunk on the culture. I mean, that's a big reason why I'm here too, is because I've had a little taste dabbling here and there, worked pretty regularly last season and then came on full-time this season, and there is some speaking to like not everyone having like a degree or whatnot in it, like it speaks volumes to the culture and like the level of support that everyone gets when they step into the warehouse. Yeah, I think that's really cool.
I've been in several companies where it's like you go in for your team meeting and you're just like, Robert's gonna tell us what to do again. Like, tell us how much we suck. It's like,
Yeah.
So that's like,
We laugh about it, but it happens.
yeah.
Oh, I mean, I've had a lot of different jobs before Yonder, in different careers, and it's kind of, and we talk about that, having positive language instead of negative language.
Yeah.
Leaders build up leaders, and I think that's what Gretchen's done. Like, she's given me the space to be who I am today and in the role I am today. And I'm trying to give that back too to the people that I'm working with every day. And I want to see them grow because all they're going to do is make Yonder better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I see Yonder as a collective unit of people growing, and as long as they're growing and they're succeeding, then that's ultimately going to come back to Gretchen. That's ultimately going to come back to the whole company.
Yeah. Well, I always ask this question, but how are you feeling as you talk about all of this stuff and kind of think about the culture and think about everything that you've done to help this company grow?
When I first started, just said every day I'm going to do my best. And now that I'm here with Gretchen and we're in a podcast room, literally a podcast room with lighting, and it is
Foam on the
walls.
sweet.
Yeah, we're coming to you live from the new podcast. We're really excited about it.
It just is overwhelming to think about where we started and where we're at now, and you do get emotional. You do, because all I did was wake up and say, I'm going to do my best today. And now to be talking about it and saying, hey, I'm going to pass that along. And I'm really humbled by that, because I don't feel like like you said, got a degree and earned it in a sense. I just feel like I had principles and Gretchen had principles, and we lived by those principles. And we see now the effects of that. And now I hear people saying, I love working here.
Mm.
And I never thought we were building a culture.
No. This could have gone terribly wrong. But we made that sharp left turn, and we're on a good path.
We are.
That took a while,
Mm-hmm.
but we're there.
Yeah.
But we never gave up.
Mm-mm.
I think that was it too. For me, Gretchen, Naomi, some of the people in the beginning, like we just had this, we'll do anything to get it done and make it happen, and we're going to learn from it and we're going to grow from it. And that was, I think, the biggest thing too. We always came back to each other and said, what did we learn this week?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how can we do this better? But we had this sense of humanity too. That
Right.
we're people, and we
Yeah.
need each other to have each other's back, and we need to make sure we're okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how can we thrive in this environment instead of just survive? So that's something that, again, I'm so humbled by, that we're actually getting a chance and an opportunity to pass that along to the people coming into the company now.
We did our grill out a couple weeks ago, and you went to go get food or go get meat to grill out.
Mm-hmm.
We do like a grill out every once a month, and
Mhm.
and you're like, I didn't realize there were like 18 people here.
Like, I bought 20 burgers. I don't have enough. That's, wow, it's a Tuesday, right?
It's a Tuesday. What are we doing?
What are we doing? Well, and now walking around the warehouse, it's so expansive. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to find someone, and they're hidden, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is a big operation now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just had a planner stop by last week, and
Yeah.
she was like, I can't believe all this is going on. And yeah, it is a full operation, and
Mhm.
there's so many moving parts going on at any given time. It's wild.
What I love about it with the growth, though, we haven't changed
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, I think that's a scary part. Is
Principle
like,
in that.
oof, there's a lot of people here. There's a lot bigger events. Like, that's a scary place to be at, and not wanting to change. Like, I had a little moment with Naomi today where I was just like, I know that she wants me to get into this role of like more thinking forward for the company, and that's where I want to get. But I'm also like, my claws are in so deep. I don't know how to. I got these long nails. How do I let go? So like that's like kind of where I'm at, is just like, I know that that's what the shift that we need, but I'm just like, it's been like that for so long where it was just the three of us, and now there's like more of us, and now there's more of us, and I'm like, I don't want to ever feel like I don't know what's going on and feel connected, because I think that's what's so special. So I don't know how to deal with that struggle.
Yeah, I think communication is something I'm learning more and more from all the departments, and even to you and to Naomi, is that you cannot over communicate about the processes and what's working, what's not working, because we all need to stay informed.
Mm-hmm.
And so yes, I think there's a sense of, I trust you, and I trust what you're telling me,
Mm-hmm.
and you've proven that, and we're getting there. And that doesn't mean though that we can't communicate,
Right.
right? And meetings, time one-on-ones, emails, back and forth. Like all of those things are helping us stay kind of in the loop without having to be right there.
Right.
So what I've learned this year, especially, this has been a completely different year for me, is I'm really working with my leads. And they're communicating back to me what they're seeing, and then I'm showing them some tips, some pointers. I'm filling in, and I'm really an asset to them, and they're an asset to me, and we're working off each other. And that's been really fun.
Yeah.
To see.
Because you used to be the lead for, you used
Everything.
to always be the lead.
Right.
And that's how we turned into the zombies that we were. So I think you're like going through that with your leads and your people that you're trying to train, because like as a lead in the past, you'd have to load your own vehicle and strike your own event and all this stuff. That was cool. That's where we were at. But like, if we want to be able to like do event after event, we can't be on strikes and doing like everything and then turning around and doing 5 days in the office.
Well, I'm happy that you brought this up, because it's all about trust. And I said this to a part-timer who came on with us recently. I said, I have to be able to trust you in your role, or I can't have you, because then I have to come through and do the work again. And I've heard that from our fabrications department and from a lot of the departments. It all comes down to trusting the person, and that is earned, and that is something that I have now. I have equity in Ashley, who over a year's time, I've double checked and I've critiqued and I've seen her make those adjustments and grow. And now I'm like, you're solid.
Yeah.
I can really rely on you to come through. And that doesn't mean she doesn't make mistakes. It doesn't mean she's not human, but it gives me a lot of leeway to let her do her job and then me step in when needed. And then I can do a quick double check, because she's earned that trust.
Right.
And that's something that we have had to have with Gretchen. And now I'm asking that for my employees below me. And it's been fun and rewarding. I think that's the cool thing about it too, is that they want to earn it, right? They want to be, I know I did, you want to be like, no, I can do this. I want to show you that I'm capable and that I care. Yeah. And that's something we look for now when we're hiring, is those two qualities.
Yeah. And that's a huge trust thing. It's like, okay, with you guys, it was like, I want to feel like you feel like I trust you. And that's just like, that's so hard when my like claws are in it still. Like, I feel like we're just now getting to the point where it's like, you guys are getting that feedback from me of like, you're doing it. Like, if I'm able to step out and I have no stress and I don't even need to like check in with you, that's amazing. And like, that's just me coming from this point of like a control of like, I need to know what's going on at all times, and like burning out myself. And how do you deal with that?
Well, and I remember my first season here, I was sending you pictures and I was sending you updates, and I always thought, and this is what I always said to other people, I am reflecting Gretchen. I know how much you care, so I'm going to care just as much, right? I was trying to match you in that and then show that to you. And then that's what I'm asking of the people. Again, though, it all comes back to, I watch you care. I watch you do that. I'm not someone who's so disconnected from your role. Like, I've lived your role, and you've seen me in it. And now you're like, hey, I care enough to be in it too. And it builds that rapport. But I do remember that. It took me some time to get to that place. But what I want to harp on is the idea of the mindset was, I am acting as if Gretchen's here. I'm in Gretchen's place. How would Gretchen handle this with the planner? And that, again, from Gretchen, has started this amazing culture of on-site, off-site, of giving it your all, caring, and showing that to everyone around. Yeah. And people they notice.
I want to go into, what does it do for you mentally to know that you can trust someone then? Like, what does that free up for you? Because I think that's what you're both talking about, right?
A lot, yeah. For me, I will just say that I've been able to execute more of the outcome rather than the small details. So, for example, if I'm doing an order and there's 100 slat chairs going and there is 100 pieces of flatware, I used to have to check every single slat chair and every single fork. I did. I had to make sure that everything was up to date and up to par and ready to roll for this event because I was putting my stamp of approval on it.
Mhm.
Now that there's been equity and trust built, I don't need to check every single piece. I can check the overall piece. And what does that allow me to do? Do more orders, pour into more people, do one-on-ones, and build up others, and step back and see the big picture and hope it come to fruition.
Yeah.
But if I'm in the details too much, then I can't step back and see what's going on from a big picture view.
Yeah.
So this year has been amazing in that for
Yeah.
me. What about you, Gretchen?
I think that's where I'm at too. Is like I know that that's big on like Naomi and Mallory's plate is like to let me have that ability to step back because that's been like a hard thing to get to for me just because I feel all the pressure on my shoulders of everything, and so I'm
Yeah.
like, I have to know what's going on, and just like the past couple weekends of like me not knowing everything that was happening and everything going off seamlessly, and that was like when we went to Flagstaff, I was like, well, that was cool. We just showed up and took pictures and like just showed face and like made sure everyone felt supported, and that was like weird but awesome.
I remember I asked you details about the big event this week, and you were like, I don't really know. And I was like, good. I remember being like shocked that you didn't know, but also like excited that like you didn't have that on your plate because you trusted someone else to be carrying all those details. And
There's
I was glad.
There's only so many hours in a day.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm so thankful that Gretchen can be forward thinking and setting us up for success and meeting with other people down the road, and I can then take that off your shoulders, right? And that frees you up, and that's happening all the way down to our part-timers this year.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's our big goal is like being able to turn this into a year-round, not so seasonal business, because now that we have 11 full-timers, like I want this to be something that is sustainable year-round and is not so like crash and burn for us. And so that's where like, okay, how do I get it to that point, and me being able to step out of the day-to-day and like focus on that is like, this is the first time I've ever been able to feel like that is an appropriate thing to do.
Well, think about it. It's busy season, and
Yeah.
usually we're just trying to survive day to day.
Like it's July,
It's July,
and I'm thinking about this stuff. Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
you're doing a
positive.
podcast. You can
Yeah.
take like 30 minutes out of your day to just kind of talk about all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. Mascot wise, like what do you feel that people still need to understand about Yonder? Like how could you use this time to like be a little shameless promotion-y and be like, we're actually like doing all these cool things that might not be fully out there yet. So what do you think that we need to talk about to Mascot Yonder right now?
I think going in tomorrow is a big one. Like having our biggest event ever, going out,
Biggest event ever?
Yeah.
and just knowing like everyone is very capable and very like into it and knows everything that's going on, and I don't know a lot. I just want to show up tomorrow and just like support everyone where I can and like be there. And so I think that just shows like our biggest event ever. I don't even know all of the details on it, and it's gonna go seamlessly and beautifully and be like such a highlight for us. So that's probably the coolest realization for me.
Do I need to bring some tissues?
Probably. We need like a tissue box, maybe like a diffuser with some oils.
That would be nice. Yeah, we'll get all that.
This
We'll
is
get all
like
that.
a true counseling experience in here.
This room kind of makes it feel that way
Right?
too.
Yeah, very intimate in here.
Well, and my comment may be a little biased because obviously I work here, but I think our team, and Gretchen just spoke to this, is just full of such creative, talented people. I'm just blown away. I really am by the people we have here. from the customs department to marketing to sales, logistics. Like, we have people with just such amazing gifts and talents, and they bring that to work every day, and they allow it to be here and shared. And so, shamelessly, I would say that I think the leads that we have here and the people we're training here are special. They're just special. And so that's what I would want people to know about Yonder, is that we are a company, we're growing, but we're still, like, we know our people and they know us. And that's amazing. And I want to keep that. I really do. I would love to keep that long term, where people can actually say, hey, I've had a conversation with X, Y, or Z, and I know what they care about, and I know what they represent, and I care enough as well to be a part of that.
Yeah.
So that's what I would want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And I know I'm not trying to pry for future details.
Does this
So
come every time?
I'll direct it to Michael. Maybe he'll spill some tea for us. But I'm wondering, like, in a few years down the road, what do you think that we will be mascotting around Yonder? Like, what do you see for the future that we would be like, this is really exciting, let's cheerlead this even more? Or what do you hope to be doing in the next couple of years?
I think the principles would stay the same, like the culture would stay the same, but you would see those gifts and those talents just bleed out everywhere else. So we would have the capacity to use those talents in different forms, like different settings, different places. I wouldn't want to limit the creativity that we have, and I would love to stick true to the brand.
Yeah.
That's something we've always talked about. And so I know Gretchen is full of ideas. Like, you're always constantly bubbling out just amazing creative ideas for us. And I just want to be a part of implementing those and letting the people that we have here get that opportunity, because they love doing it. Like, I love coming to work, and it shows that people love coming to work and what they do. And the more creative we get, the more they're able to then execute that vision.
Yeah.
So that would be down the road. But I want to keep our culture. I want to keep what we've built and what we're still building. I think it's unique to be a part of, and I'm thankful to be a part of it.
Yeah. Perfect. Any other final thoughts around cheerleading your own brand and
I
cheerleading?
want to hear your grade school mascot story.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
I
Yes.
promise that to the people. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, in 7th and 8th grade, I was a panther.
Black Panther?
Yeah, I was a Black Panther.
Love it.
I was cheering with all the cheerleaders and wore this like fuzzy black costume in a grade school gym, and it was really hot. And I had like even like a fur like headpiece, like my face was out. Did you know about this?
I knew you were a mascot, but I have not seen pictures.
Oh, okay. We have to post some of
We'll
those.
text Glow for
Yeah.
some of those.
But yeah, it kind of just like wrapped around my head, so my face was out, and I had like a black nose and like whiskers painted on. That's one of the cheerleaders would always just like paint on me for every game, but yeah, it was really, really fun, and I loved doing it. And you know how they have like those little tunnels where the team like bursts through the paper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I would always like lead that with like this flag and like run around
That's
the
so
field,
cool.
like, act a fool. So it
How
was
did you
really fun.
feel just going through the paper? Just
It was fun.
Yeah.
And it was fun to be like the lead, because you know that wasn't the most highest social position someone could hold in 7th grade. So being able to kind of like do that and like lead that, it was like really fun. And yeah, I was living. It was great.
maybe
Yeah.
we should do that at our next like Yonder Up. You just burst through.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, let's do it. Just with a Yonder flag, we can come up with
Yes.
something. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do
Ideas
it.
are happening.
Oh, the
Right.
content.
Yes.
We really hope that you all enjoyed that episode with Michael and Gretchen, and maybe even learned a few things about how to cheerlead and be your company's best mascot. And we're really excited to announce our next podcast, where we'll talk all things design. with our floral team, Whitney and Mallory. They'll join Gretchen and I in the podcast room for some sweet deliciousness about all things floral, design, aesthetic, and what is coming up in the trends. So we're really excited to talk to them about everything they know. They are both a wealth of knowledge, so stay tuned. As always, thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time. This is the house that Yonder built. Coco out!